Welcome aboard, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health. Welcoming you to a live edition of Fire Your MD Now, a.k.a. the Dr. Glidden Show. I'm waiting for the phone logs to populate on my computer screen. We're going to go right to the calls in the very first segment here, as I promised I would yesterday. While I'm waiting for my studio guys to get that together, I want to talk about the Angelina Jolie effect. The Angelina Jolie effect. The BRCA testing doubles. Twice as many women were tested for BRCA1 and 2 mutations in a North American clinic in the 6 months after the revelation by actress Angelina Jolie that she had undergone a prophylactic mastectomy after finding out she was a carrier of the mutated gene. Importantly, the increase in genetic testing was appropriate, as the proportion of women found to be carriers remained constant, the researchers note. The findings illustrate the profound impact that prominent figures like Jolie can have on public awareness of health issues. Increasing testing, this article, by the way, is from Medscape Medical News, written by Zosia Chusteka. Chusteka, there's a name, Zosia Chusteka, September 3rd, 2014. Jolie's announcement in an article entitled My Medical Choice, published on May 14th in the New York Times, was extensively reported across all media, and at the time, several breast cancer experts predicted that the huge publicity would lead to an upsurge in genetic testing for the BRCA1 and 2 mutations. People in the community who see high-risk breast cancer have been very aware of what has been dubbed the Angelina Jolie effect, this phenomenon of more women and their families seeking out genetic testing. What is interesting about this study, he said, is not just that the authors were able to document the increase in genetic testing, but they also show that it is the right people that should be seeking out genetic testing. I'm not exactly sure what that means. The key point here is that the same percentage of patients actually had the genetic mutation, and the same proportion met the criteria for testing in the periods before and after the news. These were not inappropriate people who had somehow been frightened or alarmed by the messages that came forward. Rather, because of the clinicians or their own awareness, these were perfectly appropriate individuals who should be getting genetic counseling. So this is interesting. So, again, this perpetuates the myth that it's the gene that's the thing. And this is a remarkable thing for me to kind of wrap my brain around, because it underlines in bold face the complete, on the one hand, the reality by consensus, herd mentality that the MDs generate, and on the second hand, their complete reluctance to overlook obvious facts, their complete reluctance to overlook obvious facts. It's as if the MDs actually believed that the cause for heartburn was stomach acid, and that the way to get rid of heartburn was to get rid of stomach acid with proton pump inhibitors. Oh, I'm right. That's exactly what they do believe, and we all know that that's incorrect and that that's wrong. So the BRCA gene, the BRCA1 and the BRCA2 genes are normal genes which are found in everybody. And the function of the BRCA1 and 2 gene is to repair mutations in chromosomes. That's the function of the gene. It repairs mutations in chromosomes. So we know that your genetic material has the ability to repair itself. We know that it does. That's what the BRCA1 and 2 gene do in their healthy state. The BRCA1 and 2 genes which become mutated, which themselves become mutated, if you are, if the mutated aspect or iteration of the gene is present in your body, then you are at a high risk for breast cancer. But medical science doesn't ask themselves, well, what can fix the mutation and what causes the mutation to happen in the first place? They know that there are genes present, that there's material present in the body to fix mutations. It's the same gene that became mutated in the first place. So would it not be an appropriate question to ask, well, son of a gun, it's a mutation of a gene. We know that genes can fix mutations because this very gene itself in its unmutated state fixes gene mutations. So wouldn't it be more prudent, rather than giving all of this money to women for research, for men and women, to see whether or not they have the mutated gene in the first place, and then, cut their breasts off prophylactically, which is a big money generator, by the way. That's why they want to do it. Wouldn't it be better to research what causes the mutation to happen in the first place? I think that it would. But, stupid is as stupid does. And when people like Angelina Jolie get up and stand up in the public square and they agree to go the way of the herd, then the rest of the herd is going to follow them. She's like the alpha female that all the other females are going to follow. Oh, if it's good enough for Angelina Jolie, it's good enough for me. Well, apparently Angelina Jolie's IQ is less than optimal. I have no idea what her IQ is. I have no idea what her educational background is. But, even if she is a bright bulb, even if she is a bright bulb in the bunch, she was duped by the MDs into their methodology, which is inconsistent and incorrect. And she was completely unaware of the fact that there was a lawsuit against the Food and Drug Administration years ago, which allows us to say in the public forum the qualified health claim that supplementation with selenium reduces the occurrence of breast cancer by 82%. Supplementation with selenium reduces the occurrence of breast cancer by 82%. Now, we know by other published research that selenium deficiencies are directly related to a mutation in a gene which causes cystic fibrosis. We know that for a fact. That's an academic, unarguable fact that a deficiency in selenium causes a mutation to a gene which allows for the exposition of cystic fibrosis. Cystic fibrosis is caused by a gene mutation, and the gene mutation is caused by a mineral deficiency, specifically a deficiency in the mineral of selenium. So we know that minerals are directly related specifically to gene mutations. We know that selenium supplementation to a healthy population reduces the occurrence of breast cancer by 82%. So don't you think it would be worthwhile looking at the relationship between selenium supplementation and the BRCA mutation? I think that it should. But conventional science is not going to do that. Conventional medicine is not going to do that because there's no money in curing cancer. There is money in genetic testing, and there is money in, double mastectomies, especially prophylactic mastectomies. It is a runaway juggernaut. It is a runaway scientific juggernaut of mediocre medical stupidity, which builds upon itself like a snowball rolling down a hill, Machiavellian, monopolistic, and completely lopsided in its understanding of the real genesis of chronic disease. And yet, because they own the show here, especially in the United States, people like Angelina Jolie, by hook or by crook, are going to be convinced by the all-knowing MD with the secret decoder ring to all things medical that, there's no reversing the BRCA mutation and that you've got it and you're going to get cancer, so just have your breasts hacked off. This is the state of affairs that we have sunk into. And it's not a good state of affairs, and that's why we are here. All right. My soundboard is up. My call board is up. And I am looking for, was it Francis in North Carolina, who I told I'd pull right up at the first of the hour? Francis, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right. I keep my promises. So bring me up to speed again with your condition. How can I help?
Okay. I explained that I have extreme numbness and pain in my feet. Goes up my legs to my knees and in my thigh area, the front of my legs mostly, and my legs are just weak and this has been getting progressive to the point where I need a walker just to go from one room to the other. This same numbness is in my fingers, in my hands, and it just seems like it moves around, because week before last it was really in my arms.
Excuse me.
My equilibrium is off and has been for some time.
Well, has anybody diagnosed this? Has anyone ever, done a series of tests and said, yeah, you've got fibromyalgia, you have, peripheral neuropathy, you have type 2 diabetes, you have degenerative disc disease? Has anybody dialed it in yet?
I was told February 1 of 2007 that I was a type 2 diabetic. I took medication for a very brief period of time, probably wasn't even 6 months. And I just phoned my doctor's office this morning trying to be ready for this phone call. And I received a letter from my doctor. It was either last year before last, I can't remember now, indicating that I was no longer diabetic, because I really went on a campaign to figure out how I could reverse this, because I just thought it was nonsense to every 3 months go to a doctor for him to prick me in my finger and charge me whatever for what I knew, at the house, in the morning.
So you were told you had type 2 diabetes, and you figured out on your own how to optimize your blood sugar. You optimized your blood sugar by changing your diet, and then you got a letter from your doctor that said you don't have type 2 diabetes anymore.
Yes,
But you still have this ascending, migrating pain in the body that nobody has been able to get a handle on, right?
And that's what was so shocking to me, because I didn't have any of that numbness and pain, while I was under the mantle of saying I had diabetes.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. Stick around, Francis. It's a hard break. I'm going to dial this in for you when we come back. I appreciate the call back. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. Welcome aboard. This is Fire Your MD Now. Let's go back to Francis in North Carolina. Okay, Francis, so how long have you been suffering with this neuropathy-like condition, for lack of a better word?
I would say since middle of 2011. It got to the point where it was so bad, I also experienced this thing I had never heard of called foot drop or drop foot.
Oh, you had drop foot too?
Yeah.
All at the same time?
This was in 2011. This is when this neuropathy thing, really kicked in. So.
Well, one of the things that can lead to foot drop, and which is often overlooked, believe it or not, and it's kind of a long shot, but I'm going to mention it anyway, just for the listening audience, is lead toxicity, lead exposure. So. Were you working in a chemical production plant, or were you around chemical solvents, or, did you just move into a new place and there was lead paint or anything like that?
No, as a matter of fact, I was out of the country. I worked on Guam for 3 years, my contract,
For the military?
No. I worked there for the Bank of Guam.
Well, that's interesting. Well, that's very interesting.
But the whole time I was on Guam, my equilibrium was absolutely upside down.
Yeah.
The whole time I was there.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. So anyway, all right. So here's what we do, right? So just to kind of bring this all into perspective here. There's only a handful of things that can be causing these conditions. There's only a handful of things that can be causing these conditions, and the MDs are obviously clueless about it. Everybody kind of thought that this was...
over 30 doctors, and no one has told me anything. I had to go as far away as the Philippines because there was no rheumatologist on Guam. I did receive a diagnosis in 2010, and when I came back to the States, I received what I call a confirmed diagnosis of the same thing in 2011.
What'd they tell you?
They told me lupus.
Lupus?
Yes. And then I had a doctor tell me last year that he didn't think that's what it was. So at this juncture, I don't know what's going on.
Well, I know what's going on, and we're going to get to the treatment possibilities here in a minute. But everybody's overlooking the 1 million pound gorilla in the middle of the room. And the 1 million pound gorilla in the middle of the room is, you're an educated woman. You're someone who has their head on their shoulders. And, it's not like you're dodging medical care. It's not like you're trying to work the system. It's not like you're trying to get under the radar and not have medical insurance and, game the system. Yeah. So you're just going about your life. You're doing everything that the society tells you to do. You've got the 9-to-5 job. You've got the medical insurance premiums. You start to get sick, you go to the doctor. And then the doctor lets you down. And then 30 other doctors let you down. And that is a big, bad voodoo daddy. Apparently, we're up against another time clock here. I'm not exactly why that's happening. Stick around, folks. More to come. Let's finish this up with Frances and get her on the straight and narrow. All right, so Frances, here's the deal. You went to see all these doctors, figure out how much money you've been paying in medical insurance premiums your entire life by playing by the rules just to gain access to the expertise of these people when what hits the fan, what did hit the fan. You have strong and persistent neurological symptoms, and nobody has a freaking clue of what's causing it. Nobody really cares. All of that hard-earned money down the drain. And that's exactly the way that it is for everybody in this country now, because now it's a law that you have to buy medical insurance. You have to. And your medical insurance isn't going to give you access to me or homeopathy or acupuncture or traditional Chinese medicine or Ayurveda or colonics or chiropractic. It's going to give you access to MD, mediocre, Machiavellian, monopolistic medical insanity, which does not work. And this is the biggest freaking problem we have in the country. The medical system here does not need to be tweaked, upregulated, massaged, or, fixed, micromanaged. It needs to be abandoned because it does not work. It doesn't work. MD-directed medical treatments for chronic diseases do not work, and you are, in fact, the poster child for that. And you know what happens with people like you, Frances? After a while, if you keep going back to these people and they're unable to help you, rather than turn the mirror on themselves, they will write in your chart that you're a psychological case, that you're making up all this stuff in your head because they've done all these tests and they can't find anything. So because they can't find anything, it must be your problem. You must be making all this stuff up in your head, and that's what they do. And that's one more reason to topple the pedestal that they're on, bring everybody to an equal footing. For goodness sake, fire your medical doctor now.
One of the neurologists I saw, I had, I literally have this thing in my right foot, in my toes. It almost looks like I'm tapping out, the battle hymn of the Republic. My toes do this, moving thing.
Yeah.
And he literally said to me, he said, "Are you doing that?" And I almost could have slapped him and said, why would anyone just sit and do that with their feet? And after testing me, with the thing where they measure, loss of nerve or whatever it is, they poke you all over the place. The only thing that doctor told me was, don't cross my legs.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. And, there's no other industry that, you could get away with that type of behavior. There's no other industry.
And this is while I'm in the middle of this pain and loss, and the foot drop. Or drop foot, whichever way that goes.
It's crazy. I mean, it's just crazy. And, you got to think that after a while there's going to come a breaking point where it's going to be the 100th monkey thing, and there's going to be enough people in this country who just reach the boiling point and say, you know what, you guys stink at what you do. We're marching on Washington, D.C. We're not going to elect the senator. We're not going to elect the congressman. We're not going to elect the president unless you have a free medical market in the United States and everybody's let on to the ship and we have equal access to all licensed and regulated medical professionals. The Food and Drug Administration is kicked out. The pharmaceutical industries are regulated, And, you think that's going to happen in our lifetime? I don't think it's going to happen in our lifetime.
Yeah, and then the other part is I had to go for 6 months with no insurance coverage at all in order to get on this government insurance. Pardon me. And I had it for 6 months, and my premium went up to $525 per month for one person. And so, therefore, after that, I had no insurance because I couldn't afford it.
Well, it's crazy, but this is what happens when there's a monopoly in place, and you can do whatever you want. The medical profession, I always say this, the MDs are good if you have a bullet in your arm, if you have a broken leg, if you have a bleeding artery. They're good for trauma care. They're good for, surgery when surgery is necessary, and we don't want to take that away from them. Thank God for morphine and thank God for Novocaine. But for stuff that most people go to the doctor for most of the time, stuff like you're suffering from, they're completely clueless, and their therapeutics are ineffective. And even if their therapeutics are effective, the therapeutics that they deliver don't cure anything. They just manage the problem, and then eventually it gets worse. You need another drug or 2 or 3, and then you get worse, and then, they cut your feet off, and then they cut your legs off, and then they cut your arms off, and then they give you a fake heart, and then they give you, it's just nonsense. But this is what passes for the best medicine in the world, and you have to wonder what it's going to take for people in this country to wake up and just say, you know what, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm not going to take it anymore. You are fired. So, look, here's the deal. Regardless of what your diagnosis is, you need neurological support. Regardless of what really is the diagnostic thing, what really is going on here in your body, you need to increase your consumption of foods that are high in antioxidants because antioxidants prevent inflammation. And really, inflammation is at the root cause of the genesis of most chronic diseases, especially if there's a neurological component involved. So we have to be rational, we have to be sane, and we have to lean on the fundamental proposition that the human body knows how to fix itself. The human body wants to fix itself. The human body is endowed with a God-given ability to fix itself. And so it becomes the prudent, sophisticated, effective physician's job to provide the patient with therapeutics which support and promote the body's ability to optimize its structure and function. And that's what we are about to do here. So, number one, you must, if you haven't, and forgive me if any of this is redundant, okay?
No.
Okay, all right, good. So there are 10 foods you need to stop eating. Are you aware of that list?
That.
You've done that. Good girl. All right, so number one, you need to maintain that discipline no matter what. Come hell or high water, you need to stop eating the 10 bad foods, especially fried food. I don't even want you to be downwind of fried food. Fried food would be like, the voodoo curse for you.
Haven't had a French fry. No.
Okay, good girl. Number two, when you do eat food, you need to lean on foods which are high cholesterol donors. So full-fat milk, full-fat yogurt, full-fat cheese, butter, chicken with the skin, turkey with the skin, duck with the skin, steak cooked rare, hamburger cooked rare. Anything high in cholesterol you want to go for. I want you to become the cholesterol queen of North Carolina. Just go crazy for cholesterol. And don't worry, there's no relationship between high cholesterol and heart disease. It does not exist. 75% of your central nervous system is made from cholesterol. So if you had a broken bone, it would be prudent to eat foods that are high in calcium or to take calcium supplements and mineral supplements into your body, because guess what? That's what the bones are made from. Well, that's a good idea. Well, when we have a neurological problem, it's a good idea to feed the body the stuff that the nerves are made from, and that is cholesterol. As far as I'm concerned, it would be impossible for you to eat too much cholesterol. As a matter of fact, Harvard University agrees with us on this, and their recommendations for people with Parkinson's disease are a diet that is 80% fat. 80% fat. Imagine that. So go crazy for cholesterol. Go crazy for cholesterol. Eliminate the 10 bad foods. Go crazy for cholesterol. Now, what's your current body weight, Francis?
164.
Okay. And how tall are you?
5'4".
Okay, so is that a good weight for you, or you need to drop like 20 pounds? What do you think?
I could use 20 pounds off, yes.
Okay, well, the reason that people gain weight is because their bodies are nutritionally deficient. And when your body is nutritionally deficient, your body knows that it is nutritionally deficient. And so your brain sends a signal to your body mind to eat more, because the body knows it's deficient, and the body is attempting to fill up its nutritional tank by having you import more nutrients into the body. But the food that we're eating is nutritionally deficient. And so we eat and we eat and we eat, and the food that we're eating is nutritionally deficient, so the nutritional tank remains empty. So we'll go to Olive Garden, eat a couple of thousand, calories, and 3 hours later we're hungry again. Why? Because the body is still nutritionally deficient. So I don't care if you're 5 pounds overweight or 500 pounds overweight, your body is nutritionally deficient. This is at the fundamental root cause. There are other things that contribute to weight gain, but we have to address the nutritional situation first and foremost, or we're spitting into the wind.
And you're also indicating that I should be gluten-free?
Yeah, that's so gluten-free. If you're eliminating the 10 bad foods, you're automatically gluten-free.
Okay.
Because wheat, barley, rye, and oats, which are the grains which contain gluten, are the first 4 of the 10 bad foods.
Well,
yeah,
in the little township where I live, it's very difficult to eat gluten-free because...
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. As God is my witness, Francis, it seems like it is. But if I showed up at your house and I put a sensor around your neck, and I showed you a briefcase filled with $1 million in gold doubloons, right? Non-taxable item, gold doubloons, $1 million, a gold doubloons. And I say, Francis, I'm going to give you all of this money, $1 million in gold in 4 weeks, if you can stop eating gluten, and I'm putting a little sensor around your neck to do it. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't eat gluten. You with me?
Well, I've eliminated, but it's very, like the bread that I have. I mean, I wish that somebody could give some brand names of things that still taste like food and not just cardboard. I mean, I have some bread that all I'd like to do is, put it up on the wall and paint with it. It's nasty.
All right, so you need to use Facebook. You need to use. Do you on Facebook at all?
No.
Well, you probably should consider it, because there's a lot of support that's available online to help you figure out what are good gluten-free breads, what are good gluten-free recipes, what are good gluten-free breakfast ideas. I mean, it's a learning curve, right? You got to figure it out. You can either muddle through it on your own, or you can lean on the community here for support, and I would encourage you to get hooked up with Facebook and go to Wellness Warriors with a Z. .com. But you can do it. You can figure it out. We have to get to the supplements because we're running out of time. So at your body weight, in order to support and promote healthy neurological function, the recommendation would be per month 1 Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid. 1 Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid. One of those.
1 Healthy Body
Start Pack 2.0 liquid. 2 bottles of plant-derived minerals. 2 bottles of plant-derived minerals. 4 bottles of Ultimate Selenium, SELEN like Nancy, IUM. 4 bottles of Ultimate Selenium. And 2 bottles of EFA Plus. 2 bottles of EFA Plus. Edward Francis Albert Plus. EFA Plus. 2 of those a month, in addition to what you get in the Healthy Body Start Pack. Now, in addition to that, it would be prudent for you to secure the consumption of 100,000 ORAC points of antioxidants a day. 100,000 ORAC points of antioxidants a day. And again, you're going to have to figure out how to do that. I wrote a book about that. You can get that book for free by going to freedoctorbook.com. freedoctorbook.com. Figure out how to get 100,000 ORAC points of antioxidants into your body. Follow this program for 4 weeks, Francis, and call me back. Stick around, folks. Connecticut is up next with Gerda. Hey, Gerda, thanks for the call. You are live. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Hello. I'm good. What's
Hello.
going on?
Okay, my name is Jordan from New Haven, Connecticut. I have a son. He is 15 now. He's autistic. He also has sickle cell. He used to go to pain crisis, full-bloom pain crisis, in a hospital for 7 to 10 days every 2 weeks.
Yikes.
So 2011, I decided, to try. I didn't know much about going on natural, so I decided to try to go on natural. So I give him a laxative, and then I started giving him geritol, folic acid, multiple vitamin, and a dose of magnesium daily. So his health improved. So he still go to a mild crisis for the last 2 years, but he have not been hospitalized.
Yeah, you got to love it. We have a lot of testimonials from people who are sickle cell adults as sickle cell. They get on board with our, blood support program, and they don't have any more crises anymore. And when, they do start to develop pain, it's like a 2 out of a 10 instead of a 10 out of a 10. Yes. And there's a lot that you can do to support and promote, healthy manufacture of red blood cells.
Okay.
You're really doing a good job there all by yourself. That was a really excellent program that you came up with all by yourself. I'm very impressed, quite frankly, by what you've done all on your own. But there's a way to kind of take this to the next level, and I would recommend that you do it.
Okay.
Okay, so the first thing, right, what we talk about here with everybody all of the time, it's a 2-step program. Well, actually, when you dial it down, it's a 3-step program, but for you, you only need to do 2 of those steps for your son. Okay. The first step is there are 10 foods that he needs to stop eating. There are 10 foods that you need to stop eating. There are 10 foods that everybody on planet Earth needs to stop eating, and you can get that list for free on my website.
Okay.
All right, so go to Dr. Glidden, GLIDDEN.com, DRGLIDDEN.com, drglidden.com. Okay. And on the right-hand side of the screen, sign up for my newsletter. It's free.
Okay.
And when you sign up for the newsletter, we send you the list of the 10 bad foods, and I also send you a link to a video which explains why the foods are bad. Okay.
Okay.
So everybody in your world needs to stop eating these foods yesterday. That will go a long way towards helping to speed up the healing of the body. Now, how much does your son weigh?
He's probably weighed by 120 now.
Okay.
Because he got he's going to his growth spurt suddenly, he just awesome.
Boom. I know, it's crazy how they grow, right?
Yes, it's like 5'9". But when I started in 2011, he was only 60 pounds. And I'm from the island. I said, I got to do something. I'm tired of going to the hospital.
Yeah, I know, the hospitals. Yeah, that's a dead-end street right there. So how did you hear about me anyway?
A friend of mine, Walter, he deal with 90.
Okay, so when I tell you what to do, you're going to have to get with Walter, and he'll tell you how to get the stuff and how to take it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So here's what your son gets every month, and we're running out of time, so I'm going to have to be quick. So write quickly.
Okay.
All right. All right. Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 Liquid. It's called the Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 Liquid. He needs one of those.
Okay, 2.0 liquid. Okay.
He needs 2 bottles of plant minerals. 2 bottles of plant minerals.
Plant
minerals. 3 bottles of selenium. 3 bottles of selenium.
Selenium. Okay.
1 bottle of glucogel at the 240 count. Actually, 2. Give him 2 bottles of glucogel at the 240 count. 2 glucogel at the 240 count. And last but not least, 1 bottle of Cal Toddy. CALTODDY. And the one right before that was GLUCOGEL. Dial that in for 90 days and call me back. I appreciate your trust. Stick around, folks. Hour 2 Before you know it, I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. Let's go to Maryland and talk to Marjay. Hey, Marjay, thanks for the call. You are live.
Hello, Dr. Glidden.
What's up, Marjay?
Life is good, and I hope yours is too.
Well, it is, but I have condolences for you. I am so sorry that you live in a state, the abbreviation for which is MD.
Oh, my goodness. You know Nugent that calls from MD? He's been on a couple of your webinars.
Yeah.
You do the same? That's my husband, so you do the same thing to him, too.
Yeah, what goes around comes around. That's pretty funny. At least I'm consistent, right?
You are, and I want to thank you for doing what you do because I so appreciate it.
Hey, I'm here for the long run, and I appreciate the positive strokes. I'll take them whenever I can. What's going on in Maryland?
I have a good friend of mine. I'm calling for her because she's at work, so she can't call at this time. But we have some questions. She has recently started on her Healthy Start Pack. Her problems and symptoms were she has some really chronic insomnia with some acid reflux and gurgling going on in upper and lower GI. Because of the insomnia, she does not like doctors. Okay, so just put that out there. She only went because she just really needed to sleep. So she's been taking Ambien.
Well, that's so wrong. It's not even funny. Ambien is a hypnotic, and Ambien makes people do weird things. I mean, it's like giving somebody LSD to make them sleep. I mean, it's just a crazy prescription. But in MD land, they get away with murder. The interesting thing about sleep here is it's interesting that she should have both a sleep issue and a heartburn issue because they're two arms of the same octopus. Often when people have trouble falling asleep, it's because they're deficient in calcium. This is why that old, what's the word? The old grandmother's remedy for sleep is a glass of warm milk before bed, right? Well,
right.
If you take calcium, a dose or two of calcium immediately before bed, the longevity liquid calcium, it will go a long way towards helping you to fall asleep and have a restful sleep through the night. And calcium is one of the main things to deliver to the body when you're dealing with heartburn. So she's got 2 strikes against her for calcium deficiencies here. And I'm going to guess that that's at the root cause of what's going on. I would be very surprised if she didn't have high blood pressure, kidney stones, or some type of an arthritic problem or chronic low back pain.
Well, it's funny she said that because she's on the Healthy Start Pack and she is taking the liquid calcium. And I did recommend. She said she's not having problems really falling asleep, but staying asleep. So I also recommended the Sweeties.
Sweeties, yep, smart girl.
But she just started taking that this past weekend. So my question to you is, what else can you tell her? What else of the Healthy Start Pack to start taking, or what times of day? Because she's taking the Sweeties for the last meal or just before bed.
All right. Well, there's a couple things she can do here. Number one, because of the heartburn, there's a decided deficiency in calcium and salt. So, for the first couple of weeks, it may be even 21 days, it may be prudent and effective to overdo it with calcium. So, what I'm going to recommend for at least 14 days, how much does she weigh, by the way?
She weighs about 107 now. She's been like 113 at her highest, but she keeps losing weight because she can't really eat too much.
Yeah, because of the heartburn. Yeah. Okay. So what I would do for 14 days is 1 ounce of the liquid calcium, not the powdered. Okay, the liquid calcium.
That's what she has.
And a little bit of citrus juice, orange or orange pineapple banana juice or something like that, right? I don't care which one she uses as long as it's citrus juice. Okay. 1 ounce of the liquid calcium and a couple of ounces of citrus juice 3 times a day. 1, 2, 3, 3 times a day. And before bed, 2 times a day, I'm sorry. 1 ounce, 2 times a day. 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, and then 2 ounces immediately before bed.
Okay. Okay.
So I want her to do 2 ounces of calcium immediately before bed.
Okay.
And I want her to do 1 ounce in the morning and 1 ounce in the afternoon, additionally, for 14 days. Okay?
Okay. All right. Now, she was taking the not that amount, but she was taking the calcium also. And her sleep has gone from waking up every hour to now she can at least rest for 2, maybe 3 hours at a time.
Yeah, okay. So we got to dial in the blood sugar issue, and that's a separate and distinct thing. And so let's talk about that next, okay?
Okay.
So, but I want to load this heavy on the calcium end for a couple of weeks just to give her a little bit of a leg up on the situation. She also needs to be counseled, and I'm sure that you've done this, but I just don't want to overlook it, to be salting her food liberally.
Okay.
If she wants the heartburn to go away, she must be salting her food so that it tastes good.
Okay.
Okay? So she needs to not be afraid of salt. She doesn't want to salt food, and her body will tell her, how much salt to use because her taste buds will tell her, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she needs to prime that pump and start salting foods liberally so that, she kind of gets into that groove. So salt is mandatory, three times a day, salt with every meal, with snacks, for goodness sake, okay?
Will that also help, like the lower GI stuff where, the lower part of her abdomen is just like bubbly and gurgly, gassy, almost a little painful? That also
it's possible. See, because the digestive tract is like a series of dominoes, and each one topples the next, topples the next, topples the next, and if all the dominoes fall over, then the system is complete and healthy and happy. But if you remove 1 or 2 of those dominoes, then everything downstream from that is messed up.
Okay.
So when you have heartburn, that's a problem with digestive acid in the stomach. And when you have a problem upstream and you remove those dominoes, and everything downstream from that is going to be messed up. So, Anna, it's entirely possible that once the heartburn issue gets resolved, then the gurgly stuff in the abdomen will go away too.
Okay.
And it's entirely possible that's a separate and distinct thing, but there's no real way to tell here, right? And it's kind of like we're sailing into a harbor where there's a dense fog, and we just got to throw the anchor over the side and do stuff that we know is going to work and burn some of the fog off before we figure out how to proceed next. So we might get lucky, and the digestive issue might resolve just by, helping to promote healthy, optimal stomach acid levels, right?
Okay.
Okay, so now for blood sugar issues, sweeties, and what I would counsel her to do at that body weight is I would do 2 sweeties, 2 sweeties between breakfast and lunch.
Oh, between meals, not with meals.
Yeah, but 2 sweeties between breakfast and lunch, 2 sweeties between lunch and dinner.
Okay.
And 2 sweeties after dinner.
Oh, so 6 a day.
Yeah, for 14 days. Now, it would also be prudent and helpful if, for these 14 days, after 6 p.m., she had 0 intake of carbohydrates, nothing sweet. So, no potatoes, no rice, no dessert, no fruit, no honey, no maple syrup, no agave. She can have steamed or cooked vegetables, and she can have protein, but that's it for the evening meal. No rice, no potatoes, no extra fruit or anything sweet after 6 p.m.
Okay.
Because this is a really rather extreme case here, and we have to really just bend over backwards to support healthy blood sugar. And if she eliminates sugar, carbohydrates with the evening meal, it will go a long way towards doing that.
Okay, so the no carbs is before bed, not necessarily throughout the day, but at least.
Yes, it's only
bed.
after 6 p.m.
Okay, after 6 p.m.
She can have carbs all day long if she wants, as long as they're gluten-free carbs, right?
Okay. Yes, and she is gluten-free, 10 bad foods. She was eating well even before she started longevity.
Great.
She just really cut out.
Okay, now the last piece to the puzzle here is 2 more things, is the plant-derived minerals and the essential fatty acids.
Okay.
because EFAs are very important in blood sugar metabolism. EFAs are. So at this body weight, I would give her for 14 days, 9 a day.
Okay.
Of the EFAs, and then you can fall back to 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 a day. 100 pounds, she really doesn't need more than 6 a day. She doesn't need more than 3 a day. But for the first 14 days here is my little extreme intervention strategy. Let's give her 9 EFAs a day for 14 days.
Okay. Now,
and finally, the last thing to do is 1 ounce of plant-derived minerals twice a day.
Okay, so 1 ounce of the minerals a day.
Twice a day. For 14 days, yep.
All right.
And that should take care of it. And tell her to stop the Ambien. Just stop it, because that crap is bad and it's going to hurt her. And, to tell her to not take it. Don't flush it down the toilet, because then it'll be in the water system.
Right.
I mean, have her put it in the barbecue in the backyard and burn it.
Okay, because she's concerned about trying to fall asleep, so she's been trying to wean herself off of it.
Well, I think that once she's on this accelerated program, even for just 3 days,
okay,
she should be falling asleep like a baby. And one more thing she can do, if she has the capacity, is a hot bath in Epsom salts immediately before bed. Check it out. Let's go to North Carolina and talk to Cassandra. Hey, Cassandra, what's up?
Okay, I have been having a little bit of palpitations.
Okay.
Hello? Okay, and I know that I've had some acid problems in the stomach. I don't have heartburn or anything, but it's like when I lay down, I can feel my heart pound beating, and then I get hot. And same thing when I wake up in the morning. So I didn't know if it was kind of like my liver overheating or hormones or thyroid or a little bit of all of it.
So has anybody ever tried to figure this out for you and dial in a diagnosis?
No, because it just started about maybe a week or so ago.
Is that right? All right, so exactly what tell me what happens exactly.
So I've been having some sweating, soreness in the breast, just getting hot, kind of like hot flashes. But when I lay down at night, sometimes my heart starts racing a little bit, and I get hot, like a hot flash, and then the same like early in the morning.
How old are you?
55.
And when was the last time you had a menstrual cycle?
Oh, about a year.
Yeah, so this is undoubtedly, there's only a couple things that this could be. It's probably hot flushes of menopause. Did you go through a bout of that, yet?
Yes, I did for about 5 years.
And what did you do for that? Did they give you a hormone replacement therapy for that?
Oh, no, I knew better. Back then I knew longevity, so I knew better than to do that.
Okay. So, the first thing that I want you to try here, and see, this is a funny thing that can happen. How long have you been doing longevity?
Probably 3 or so years, but not consistent.
Yeah. Well, see, what will happen is, so kind of just walk me through. Let me walk you through the thought process here. So, people go through their life and they're completely undernutrified. Their body has maybe 30% of the nutrition that it needs, and they stumble through their life, and they get high blood pressure and an arthritis and this, that, and the other thing or whatever.
Yeah, I have that.
Yeah, okay. And so then you get into the menopausal years, right? Perimenopause, your period starts slowing down and then it stops altogether. And so your hormones start to go a little haywire, just because that's a normal thing to happen at that part in somebody's life. But remember, your body's undernutrified, and so it can't express all of the symptoms that it needs to express appropriately. And so you have hot flushes for a little while, and then they kind of fade into the distance, and then you start longevity. Well, guess what? now all of a sudden your body is starting to be filled up, and it's stronger than it was before. So its hormones are going to be more active and more persistent. And so the hormonal issues will come back after they've been away for a couple of years, because now your body is nutrified enough to kind of punch out that symptom. And I don't know if I just made any sense. It made sense in my head. But I think that what's happening here is that this is the return of hot flushes of menopause, because your body is a little bit more nutrified now than it was, and it's able to manifest that symptom more strongly now. So the recommendation, right, to get on the other side of it, here's what I would do for 21 days or for 4 weeks in a row. You want to eat a diet that's high in cholesterol, okay? So, eat 3, 4, 5, 6 eggs a day. Have butter. Have chicken with the skin. Have rare hamburger, rare steak, right? Have full-fat milk, full-fat yogurt, stuff that's high in cholesterol, because your hormones are made from cholesterol, and you need cholesterol. Make sure you've eliminated the 10 bad foods. And to the program that you're already doing with Youngevity, get 1 bottle of Women's Hormone Balancer. 1 bottle of Women's Hormone Balancer, and take 6 of those capsules a day. 3 capsules twice a day. Do that for 4 weeks and see if all of this stuff fades into the sunset. I'm going to bet you 25 cents that it will, Cassandra. Call me back in a couple weeks for the report. I'll look forward to it. Let's go to Kim in Vermont. Hey, Kim, thanks for the call. You are live.
Hi, Dr. Glidden. How are you?
Well, God willing and the creek don't rise, I'll get better, but I'm feeling pretty good today, Kim. Thanks for the call. What part of Vermont are you in?
Near the capital, Montpelier.
Oh, yeah. Is it leaf peeping season in full bloom, or has it gone by already?
It has gone by, but it was beautiful, and it was a beautiful summer in Vermont, and it's starting to cool down a bit.
Yeah, I love that part of the world. I went to college in western Massachusetts, way up there in the corner of Massachusetts, Vermont, and New York. And there were some days in the autumn, man, it was just the most spectacular thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, all right. So, enough about this geographical nonsense. I know you didn't call to talk about the Leafs. What's up? How can I help?
Well, I'm a new distributor, and I am an insider, so I have that information, and I listen to your show pretty much every day that you're on. And I have a client, and I want to talk to you about a few of her issues and just try to figure out what we need to dial in for the protocol.
Great.
First of all, before I tell you, her different symptoms, I recognize the fact that she's going to need all 90 essential nutrients to start with, and then we'd have to add on to that. But one of the things she's struggling with is the tangy tangerine. And she has eliminated all gluten from her diet, so it's not a digestional issue. But when she drinks it, she feels like even when she dilutes it, and so I had her take half a dose, and I had her even add more water to it. She was drinking it in a large mason jar. She feels like her head's going to explode when she's drinking it.
I hate it when that happens.
I know, I've never heard of such a thing, but it definitely exists, and I wanted to figure out what might be causing that, because she obviously needs to have those those nutrients in her.
Yeah, well, there's only 2 possibilities, and there's only 2 workarounds for this, right? The first possibility is that her body is just freaking out over the fact that now there's vitamins and nutrients available to it, and it's kind of been on hunger lockdown for her whole life, and it's been dealing with it, and now all of a sudden all of the switches are turned on, and she just doesn't know how to handle that. So one strategy here is she just has to muscle her way through it. Okay. She just needs to maintain the small dilute doses, and that her body's going to get used to it and get used to it and get used to it. And it's a really horrible metaphor, but it's kind of similar to when you start smoking cigarettes, right?
Okay.
It's just horrible. You're like, your first pack is like, you want to just shoot yourself in the head. And honestly, I never smoked cigarettes, but I've had lots of friends who did, and every single person told me the same story, that the first pack was a horrible nightmare to work through, and then they just got used to it. So that's one possibility, right? Now, there's another possibility, And there's a relatively easy way to check this, kind of a down and dirty, old-fashioned naturopathic method. She could be having a delayed hypersensitivity allergic reaction to some of the 115 fruits and vegetables, or however many there are that are in this product, right? She could be having a mild allergic reaction to some of the fruits and vegetables in it. So here's how she knows.
Okay.
And this takes a significant amount of discipline to do, but it's not that hard. So she sits down, she gets the drink ready. Mm-hmm. She's made it. She sits down at the table, and she takes her pulse.
Right before she drinks it?
Yep. She's got to sit down. It's not, I don't want her to be like running around the kitchen. And, she just wants to sit down and settle down and then take her pulse and write down what the beats per minute were.
Okay.
Then she remains seated, and she drinks, 4 ounces of the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. She just drinks it right down.
Okay.
Then she waits 5 minutes.
Okay.
Seated, without rising. 5 minutes. She just sits there, reads the paper, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then takes the pulse again in 5 minutes.
Okay.
And if the pulse has gone up by 10 beats per minute, she's allergic.
Okay.
And if she's allergic, then she needs to switch it out. And the only thing that really she can switch it out to is the Ultimate Classic.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if you've ever tasted the Ultimate Classic, but there's a lot of kind of talk around campus lately that Dr. Glidden hates the Ultimate Classic, and a lot of people are chiming into the chat room that they don't and that they actually like it. And there was one guy yesterday, he found that if you mix the Ultimate Classic with the V8 pomegranate blueberry juice, I think, a V8 Fusion pomegranate something juice, that he said it really tastes pretty great. So the Ultimate Classic is an acquired taste. One man's ceiling is another woman's floor. Who knows? She might love it. But if it is an allergic reaction, she has to switch. And really the only reasonable analog here is the Ultimate Classic. And have her feel free to mix the Ultimate Classic with whatever she wants in order to make it taste good. Because let's be honest, Kim, if people don't like the way that it tastes, they're going to soldier through for maybe 7 days, maybe 10 days, then they're going to just give it up, because who wants to drink something twice a day that tastes like crap, right?
No, it's true. Absolutely.
So people have to find a way to make the stuff palatable, and it also has to be, easy on the body, because in a perfect world, medical nutrition is painless. There should be no side effects whatsoever. It should produce no negative anything and nothing. And this is the goal here, and sometimes it's a hard goal to acquire, but that's the workaround for this. She either has to muscle her way through it or test to see if it's an allergic reaction. And if it is,
great.
Switch it out to the Classic. Yeah?
No, that sounds great. Now, I wanted to give you some of her symptoms and just kind of figure out, if the 90 essential nutrients work, what we could add to that.
Great.
And when I'm looking at this, it feels to me that there's a lot of nerve issues. So I'm thinking of cholesterol. But I'm just going to let you know what they are. Just list them. So she has vulvodynia, and she has some sciatic nerve problems. One thing that's really bothering her is tendinitis in her legs. And it causes like burning in her feet, and her ankles are sore. She's on her feet all day, so it's really bothersome.
Well, okay, so given the fact that there's vulvodynia present, that would argue for degenerative disc disease in the low back.
Okay.
So, if the little feather pillow loses its feathers, then it's not going to be cushy anymore. And so if the intervertebral disc in the low back or anywhere in the spine becomes, degenerated because you've lost nutrients, then the nerves that exit the spinal cord that go to the different parts of the body at that anatomical location are going to be compromised. And the main, if not the only cause, as far as I'm concerned, of vulvodynia is degenerative disc disease in the pelvis, or the lumbar spine. So a down and dirty way to figure that out, without any, ionizing radiation exposure to the body, is just to have her measure her height in her bare feet and see if she's shorter than she was when she was, in college. And if she is, then she's got degenerative disc disease. and that's a wrap. And so what we do for that, and the tendinitis would also argue for the degenerative disc disease, because those would be two arms of the same octopus, right? Because it's the same tissue, ligaments and tendons, which are failing, right?
Okay.
So
that makes sense.
it would make sense to me that it would be that. So in that case, remember, I'm changing my tune here on recommendations from Dr. Wallach. I used to be a full-fledged advocate of the liquid glucogel, but when we are attempting to support and promote a ligament or a tendon issue like this, or, like arthritis, right?
Okay.
Then we're getting better clinical results with the glucogel capsules. And then we use the glucogel liquid for maintenance once we've fixed it.
All right.
So the dosage is 1 capsule per 10 pounds per day.
1 capsule for 10 pounds per day?
Yeah, so, if she's 210 pounds, that's 21 glucogels a day, right? So she'd do 7, 7, and 7. You spread them out.
Okay.
And then you just have to do the math and figure out how many bottles to get a month to hit that number.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's what I would do. So that should handle all three of these: the tendinitis, the sciatic nerve, and the vulvodynia.
So would you do the Dr. Glidden pack basically, and then add the glucogel with that? Is that what you would recommend?
Yeah, and then on top of that, for the cherry on the top, be 1 bottle of Caltati.
1 bottle Caltati.
Yeah. Whenever there's presumptive muscle tension spasm pathology, which often there is in sciatica, because the sciatic nerve, goes through a layer of muscles in the butt that, it's pancaked between. And often the cause of sciatica is that the muscles in the butt that the sciatic nerve is going through are spasmed out, right? And they're spasmed out because your body ran out of magnesium. So you give magnesium and the muscles relax, and then life is good. Now, the sciatic thing could also be degenerative disc disease, right? Could be. But, whenever we are attempting to upregulate or soften or get a muscle to relax for whatever reason, then you want to use the Caltati, because the Caltati has twice as much magnesium in it as the OsteoFX does.
Now, with 1 bottle of Caltati, is that 1 bottle per month per 100 pounds of body weight? Is that what
No,
it is?
it's a great question. It's the Dr. Glidden pack per 100 pounds of body weight. And then on top of that, as a standalone, cherry on top of the cake, 1 bottle of Caltati a month.
Okay. And also, I was just listening to your previous caller. She's also having some hot flashes, and she is starting to go through menopause. And would you recommend the women's hormone balancer on top of that?
Yeah, that stuff's like magic.
And what is that? 1 bottle per 100 pounds of body weight?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. That's kind of, there are a few products where the dosage schedule breaks down. And it's like, who the heck knows how much to take? Start with 1 bottle, right? Do divided doses every day, and see what happens. And then if nothing happens, then you can go up.
Then you increase it. All right, well, great. I really appreciate all your help, and I absolutely love your show, and I just really appreciate what you do.
Well, hey, tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you do up there in Montpelier?
I'm a public school teacher.
Oh, you are? That's awesome. What grade?
Second grade. So I'm a teacher, but you know what? I absolutely love longevity, and I just started becoming a distributor, and I'd like to do more with this, because this is definitely a passion of mine, and helping people and, with their health is huge.
I got to tell you something, and we have 1 minute left in this segment, so I'm going to riff a little bit on this, and I appreciate your support very much, Kim. Do a good job, because you are the last best hope your family, friends, and community members have, and so get out there and get her done. But this is where we're going to go, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we need to go. We need to start educating kids about the value and the necessity of the 90 essential nutrients and eliminating the 10 bad foods. Because once the kid gets it in their head when they're 8, 9, or 10 years old, they're going to have it for life, and that's how we're going to change the world. Stick around. Time for 1, maybe 2 more phone calls. Let's hit the phone lines. Indiana, Donna wants to know a question, I think, about breast cancer. Hey, Donna. Thanks for the call. You are live.
I've been on I was diagnosed with breast cancer a couple of months ago. I've been taking the 12 a day selenium and four times a day the plant-derived minerals. And I just started on the Beyond Tangy, taking it a couple times a day. And I'm also on another treatment too with that. It's iodine, liquid iodine. It's called Iodine.
Yeah.
And you put that on the breast. And also you take 12 drops daily for cancer. And also the liquid magnesium. I've been on these products for about 6 weeks.
Okay.
And there was one part of the breast that was not biopsied, and it was near an artery. That's why, and that's the part of the breast where I still have some pain. Can this be all with the?
Well, so are you experiencing any positive improvement in the breast tissue from the program?
A lot of strength, especially with the minerals. Sometimes I take them maybe 5 times a day or 6 times because it's strengthening my body. And also the selenium, 12 a day. And
I get it, but are you experiencing positive improvements which are noticeable in the breast tissue on a day-to-day basis?
In that one area.
What about other areas of the breast? Have you noticed anything that's changed in the breast?
There was 2 biopsies that was done. The third one was not done. Where the 2 were done, one was benign, the other was cancerous.
Yeah. So before you had the biopsies done, right? Mm-hmm. Were you experiencing any pain or inflammation in the breast area?
Just pain on the right side near the lymph nodes.
And has the pain on the right side near the lymph nodes gone away?
It's been less, but it flares up every now and then, especially if the immune system is still not strong enough yet. If it's airborne allergies, things like that, asthma will kick it up.
So regretfully, there's only 2 ways to really know whether or not any therapeutic is being effective, and that's either through subjective symptoms, the things that you feel, or objective laboratory measurements. So that's really, unless you can find a medical intuitive or somebody who's psychic, and those people actually exist, and if you get a good one, then that's a good thing. But notwithstanding that, there's no way to know here unless we get more testing done. If I were you, what the heck are you going to do, right? So,
well, the reason I refused the third biopsy was because it was near an artery, and the doctor that was doing them had really bruised the breast in the first place. And he didn't look confident in himself, and he said that if I do that area, he says there might be some bleeding. And since he was scared to death, I said, I don't feel like bleeding today, and no, you're not to do it.
Yeah, it's a sticky wicket, isn't it? Really, if I were you, I would maintain the discipline. Remember, we don't treat cancer. We support and promote the structure and function of the immune system here.
Right.
I'm 100% behind you in wanting to avoid conventional treatment. And notwithstanding that, I'm not aware of anything else, any other way to tell whether the treatment is improving. This is a holistic thing, right? And so when we're on board the correct program, we expect mood, energy, appetite, sleep, and things like that to improve. Have you noticed any improvement in any of those areas?
Yes, I have. My strength, physically wise, sleep-wise, has been better. And I'm finding that I'm able to, the immune system seems to be somewhat stronger.
Well, I would just maintain the discipline. I would just maintain the discipline and keep your fingers crossed. And honestly, I wasn't kidding when I said medical intuitive. I'll see if I can look through my Rolodex and find a good one. I'll talk about that on the show tomorrow, believe it or not. I appreciate your trust and support. I wish I had more for you folks, but sometimes our hands are tied. God willing, and the creek don't rise. Same bat time, same bat channel tomorrow. Dr. Glidden, live long and prosper.